Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I am Jen Sugarmeyer, your host of Mindset in the Morning. And we are here live 5 days a week at 6 a.m. Central Standard Time, getting intentional about our lives and getting intentional about how we want to show up and the things we want to accomplish and what we want to do with our lives. Because the truth is, the morning time, which is why this is Mindset in the Morning, is the most important time of the day for us to really get intentional and wrap our minds around what we want our day to look like. I mean, once we're full motion into the day, yeah, then you're just full motion into the day, and it can be tough to take a break and say, "Hold on, what do I want to accomplish?" because you're just in full motion. But when we start to really plan it out, when we start to say, "You know what? This is how I'm going to show up today. This is how I want to feel today. This is who I want to become. This is who I want to be." Then we can put that in our mind and we go for it, just like our goals. Because just like Zig Ziglar says, he says, if you aim at nothing, you hit your target every time. Now, I'm not here to say that we aren't hitting our targets, because I know we have tons of things going on and we're doing so many amazing things. But what I am saying is that we can be whom at whatever person we want to be. And so getting intentional and thinking about it is going to help us get us there. So this week we're talking about energy, which is so important because energy is everything. I mean, think about, have you been in a high energetic state versus a low energetic state? And how does that feel? And it comes down to what we put in our body and what we put in our minds and who we surround ourselves with. And, it's people, it's places, it's things, it's ideologies. And this can impact your overall mood. It can impact how you show up in this world. And so it's important for us to become aware of just energy in general. And then once we're aware of it, then we can start to say, okay, do I need to make some tweaks? Do I need to make some changes? Because if you're in a low energetic state, you want to be in a high energetic state, then that's something that you can become intentional about in the morning and change. You can. And you're the only one that has impact over your energy and how you spend your time and where you spend your time and who you spend it with and how what you feed your mind. All of these things, you are the only one that can impact that. So if you find that you are just dragging, that you are in this negative state, then it's time to make a change. So today we're talking about those negative people in your life and how to deal with them, because we've all dealt with some negative people and they can be draining. So, those negative people, you know who I'm talking about. I mean, it could just be a friend that's like calling you on the phone and you're like, "Oh, I don't want to pick up." And you pick up and it's like, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, oh. And you're just trying to pull yourself away from the phone. I mean, think about how you feel in that situation. It doesn't feel really good because you want to be having a conversation or doing something that is uplifting, and yet somebody's like pulling it out of you. Or you go hang out with a group of friends, and yesterday we talked about gossip and how gossip actually sucks your energy. And maybe you're going around and you go to this party and there's this group of girls and they're hanging out there and they're just gossiping, and you don't feel real good when you're in that situation. Or maybe you're at work and you go to get your morning coffee and there's a bunch of people just talking around the water cooler or the coffee pot, and they're like, "Oh, did you see the new CEO, man? He's such a jerk." Or "Oh, that new CFO, she's just terrible," or whatever. And you're like, "Gosh, this is just kind of a negative way to start my day." So constantly we are running into situations that we always need to be assessing. It could be music, it could be, you know, anything that you're coming in contact with, any sounds, any noises, any people. But when we are around people, it can be harder to walk away than just music. So if we hear negative music and we're like, "Oh, I don't like this," we just turn it off. But when it's people, it becomes a little more, I don't know, you feel like maybe you have to pick up that phone, or you feel like maybe you have to stand and talk with that conversation, but you actually don't. So, how do you deal with these negative people, especially the ones that, you know, you like, you're friends with them. It's not just, oh, I don't know this person, I could just walk away. Or maybe you do feel like you're cornered by a total stranger and you don't know how to walk away. And that's okay too. I've had those situations before. So here are a few things. First of all, change the conversation. Change the conversation. You don't have to let them dictate what the conversation is going to be. You absolutely can say, "Hey, so did anybody watch the basketball game? Hey, did anybody or is anybody watching the Olympics?" Like, take control. You don't have to, just because a conversation is in flight, it doesn't mean that people can't pivot. Now, people's brains may go, and then they'll start to think, "Oh yeah, I watch basketball," or "No, I don't watch basketball." And then you should probably know your audience. Throw something out there, that people are going to be able to say, "Oh yeah," and you don't have to make it so obvious, like "Oh, this conversation sucks. So, how about them Redskins? How about them Cowboys?" Like, you don't have to make it so obvious, but find a commonality between this in this group or this person that you're talking to. It doesn't just have to be a group, it could be a person. And you say, "Oh, okay. Hey, I've been meaning to ask, have you been whatever?" And, "Oh, yeah." And just kind of casually work on, some of these transitions. And it doesn't have to be so one conversation ends, another one begins, but transition into something. So know your audience, think about something else that they might want to talk about that's not negative. Just because you're in this negative conversation doesn't mean that it has to continue along that trajectory. Maybe if you are in a group, you and everyone else is around this one person that's spewing negativity, and you don't have to try to fix this person. Just change the conversation. And especially if you're a coach, sometimes coaches want to get into this habit of wanting to fix people. Coach, therapist, caretaker, just anybody who, but we don't have to fix things. We don't have to change things. Don't try to go be the savior of the world, because then the conversation's just going to drag out and it's going to go on. And you know what? They have to make their own decisions. They've got to make their own, whatever. If they want help and they ask you, then maybe consider asking them some powerful questions so that they can figure it out themselves, or maybe give them some advice. But don't feel like just because you've gone into a broken conversation that you need to fix it. Just change it. Just change the conversation. Think about something that they want to talk about, and then be done with that. And maybe, so let's say there is that negative person, and you know that she's going to be, we're just going to say it's a she. She is at this party, and you're like, "Okay, I don't mind being around her, but I can't do it one on one." You know what I'm talking about, because it can be a little bit harder when it's one on one. And when you're in a group, you're like, is the group going to deal with this whole negative thing? And maybe the group is totally negative and this isn't the right approach. You got to know your audience. But let's say it's just that one person that's really negative. Hang out with them in a group. Yeah. Because I have seen, and it's so powerful, where that one negative person surrounded by a bunch of people that aren't negative. And it doesn't normally happen that way, because negative people are going to find negative people, positive people are going to find positive people. And so you're not going to find just this one person who's like, "I hate everything." And the people around them are going to be like, it's not going to be that polar. But find a group of people that you can hang out with this person and avoid those conversations one on one. And again, if you do find yourself in one on one conversations, don't feel like you have to stay in them. You can change the topic. It's okay to do that. But if you're around a whole negative group of people, hmm, well, you change the conversation, or, maybe don't hang out with that group of people. So if someone calls you and they're really negative, I used to have a friend, and it was just every single time. And it was hard to change the conversation because she was very persistent on what she wanted to talk about. And she had a lot of words. And it was just like, this is it. And it was like hard for you to get a word in edgewise. You'd be like, "I'm going to insert myself here," and then she was like already gone to the next thing. I mean, it was so unbelievable. So I stopped picking up the phone. What are you going to do? You just maybe stop picking up the phone, because when you do pick up the phone, your energy is getting sucked out of you and it's not fair to you. And so, yeah, if this person expects that every single time that he or she calls you that you pick up the phone, that's a behavior that you have allowed. You have set that expectation. You call, I answer. What if you change that expectation? You call, I answer if it works for me, or I never answer my phone. They're going to find someone else to call. Okay. Like, they have words, they need to get it out. They're looking for someone to listen, and it doesn't have to be you. So don't think that you have to take on this person and listening to all of these problems. You don't. You don't. In fact, we teach people how to treat us. So if you teach this person that, hey, it's okay that when you call, you just spew negativity and I'm going to pick up the phone and all that's okay. You set that expectation. So maybe you say, you know what, I have to pick up the phone. I'm that type of person. My phone rings and I have to pick it up. And God bless. I hope you don't get tons of phone calls because that sounds exhausting. But if you are that type of person, then you need to figure out how to really manage the conversation. You got to change the conversation. Or maybe it comes down to this: with these negative people, you got to call them out. You got to call them out. Maybe they have no idea that they are being so negative. Hey, look, I love talking to you. You are one of my best friends. We've known each other for a long time, but I've noticed recently that, things have been really negative. You okay? Just call them out. Make sure that they have awareness. Because what happens when you are so negative, you don't typically notice it. It's just like having the world over you and you're buried under it. Maybe you realize it, maybe you don't. I've been there where I didn't realize it. And until I started to pull myself out and become more positive, that's when I saw just how negative I was. And it was shocking. I had no idea that. And I think most people would have said, yeah, Jen was a pretty positive person. But when I looked back at things, I could say, wow, there was negativity here and here and here. But I didn't see it at the time. In fact, I had a lot of the same perception of myself as some of my friends that I only let see so much. But the truth is, when I looked at my life holistically, like even when my friends weren't around, there was a lot of anger. Like, I would get angry at the cars when they drove by because they were all bad drivers, all of them. I'd get angry at them, and I would say things about my coworkers in my head because they were all terrible at their jobs and they made stupid mistakes and they did things they handled things the way I wouldn't have handled them. And see? And so, like, these weren't things that really I communicated with people so much, but they were things that about me that I dealt with every single day. And I just did them. I just did them. I was just like, bad driver, stupid coworker, and I didn't see the negativity in my actions until I called myself out. I had to make that decision that I was going to change because I got intentional about my life. And I said, this isn't the person that I want to be. Who is the person that I want to be? How do I want my life to look? And it doesn't include these things. So because I got intentional, because I woke up every single day and said, hey, you know what? How does Jen Sugarmeyer want to show up today? And it wasn't that. I could then make that change. So it's maybe calling somebody out and giving them that level of awareness. Now, don't make yourself sound like you're better. Don't be holier than thou. Don't be like, I am so perfect and you are not. That is not going to go over well. Have a tactful conversation with somebody where you're like, hey, look, just as a friend, I've noticed, that you've been a lot more negative recently. Like, is everything okay? And have a soft conversation. Don't call them out. Don't make them feel like they're less than, because guess what? They already don't feel great. Anybody who is like burning from the inside out doesn't feel good. They're already inflamed. So just be cautious that this is already a broken person that you're talking to, and maybe they do have anger, maybe they do have, hurt feelings. And so just saying, hey, look, out of love, I really respect you, and yeah, I've just kind of noticed, like, is everything okay? Is there anything you want to talk about? Again, we're not here to fix people. People got to fix themselves, but maybe you should just be an ear to listen to whatever is maybe causing some of that, you know? Be an example for other people. You can absolutely be an example. I don't drink. And people ask me all the time, Jen, how do you drink and not have fun? Or no, excuse me. I said that backwards. How do you have fun and not drink? And I'm like, well, that's simple. I just have fun and I don't drink. I just go have fun. That's what I do. I set my intention to going to have fun and I go have fun. If I want to dance, I dance. If I want to, you know, go to a movie by myself, I'll go to a movie by my well, it doesn't matter what I do. I just go have fun, whatever I'm doing, whether I'm by myself or with people, it's fine. So you can be an example for other people, but you don't go fix people. You can talk to them, you can, maybe even offer suggestions if it feels right. But don't go try to fix people. Don't make other people's problems your problems. And we're going to talk about that another time because I've come across several dudes recently that are telling me how they've started dating somebody because they have all these problems and they think they can help them. What? Guys, stop trying to be the savior. Women, stop trying to be saviors. We only have one savior. What is going on here? So, anyway, that's a topic for another conversation. But you can be an example to these people. So, just stick with being an example. Okay, so these negative people, how do we deal with them? Time box them. You get 2 minutes of negativity and then we change the topic. Time box it. Like, go in, be intentional about the amount of this that you're going to give them, and then change the topic, walk away, whatever it is. But just say, okay, look, you get this much time. And maybe it's 30 minutes. Maybe you're like, look, I can deal with 30 minutes. That's fine. But then I got to leave. Like, I'm going to leave the party, or I got to sorry, my dinner's done, I got to go eat, right? Or whatever. You may give somebody just a certain amount of time. Don't let it drag on forever because these negative people want to be heard. We all want to be heard, really. But especially negative people, they want you to corroborate with them. They just want to be heard. There's something that's hurting inside of them. And they're like, please hear me, keep hearing me, keep hearing me. So time box it. That is your responsibility to time box it. Kill them with kindness. Kill them with kindness. Like, don't actually kill them, but you know what I mean. So, what I mean is be really kind to them. I remember one time I was standing in American Airlines line and it was super, super, super long. This line was like forever long because there were all these flights that had canceled. And anyway, there was this gentleman who was standing in front of me and he looked behind and he was like, oh, can you believe this? And he just started going on and on and on. And I was like, yeah, no, and I was really positive about everything. And you could tell, like, he just kept trying to come at me. Like, he wanted me to agree, like, yeah, screw American Airlines for them canceling flights because of bad weather. That's stupid on their part. Whatever. The guy was really negative. And like, I'm not giving in to that. And like, if there is bad weather, they know better than us. Like, fly anyway. It's only my life. Like, let him make the call. It's fine. So anyway, so I wasn't going to give into that situation. And literally, I watched this guy. He tried like 4 different times. And I was just like, you know, and I had my positive spin and I didn't make him feel badly. I was just being me. And finally, he turned back around because I killed him with kindness. There was nothing more that he could do. Nothing. He was just like, okay, well, I'm not having the conversation I want to have with her. So I'm just going to turn around. And maybe because of my example, I gave him some food for thought. I don't know, but I will never forget this guy because it was a very, very interesting conversation. So kill him with kindness. If they are truly that negative and toxic, you may need to remove them altogether. It's okay. As you grow in your development as a person, not everybody's growing with you at the same speed. They just aren't. And so you may need to make that decision. And it's not no, it's just not now. Don't the person that they are today isn't the person that you need. You need someone that's more positive. You need someone that's, on the same speed. It's not a bad thing that you're at different places. It's just that's where you are. And so it's not no, it's just not now. So you may need to remove them altogether for now. And yeah, that can feel a little painful. I've done it myself, but in the end, it's going to benefit you. And remember, these people are hurting. Nobody from the inside that is like, I am so negative. They're actually wearing their heart on their sleeves. They're wearing all of their problems on their sleeves and announcing it to the world that, hey, I am hurting, because hurt people hurt people. So protect your energy. Don't let them drag you down. Time box it, kill them with kindness, you know, give them just a couple of minutes, change the conversation, don't answer the phone, or do answer the phone and give them only a certain amount of time. Make sure you're changing that conversation, whatever it is. But there is ways to protect your energy, and only you can do it. So I would absolutely love and appreciate if you could if you could subscribe, and if you would share this with your friends, because we're here every single morning talking about amazing things that are going to help you go be amazing, like the person you know and I know that you are. So we'll see you back here tomorrow. Please like, please subscribe, and please share, and we'll see you here tomorrow. All right. Cheers.